I wanted to jump on here real quick and talk about the waiting game and why it's so dangerous. So when I talk about the waiting game, if you're somebody that's consistent with your fitness and nutrition routine, or you feel like you're in good shape, or you've got it together when it comes to health and wellness, this video is probably not for you, unless you're someone that has a tough time and you go for 3 or 4 months in a good streak, and then you fall off the wagon for 3 or 4 months. And here's what I want to tell you, man. The waiting game is a dangerous game, and it is basically playing Russian roulette with your health. And I'm going to tell you right now, what I see a lot of is people with this kind of, this egotistical outlook on their life, or maybe it's a little bit of arrogance, the feeling of it can't happen to me. If you're telling yourself that it can't happen to you, I want to share something with you. Share a little bit of what's happened in my past. So I worked with a gentleman for quite a while at my prior employment and before I started my business. And this gentleman was in his mid 40s, and we'll name him John. Okay, so John was in his mid 40s, and John decided he was going to play the arrogance game with his health and continuously put it off, feeling like he could, put it off till another day. Oh, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month, or maybe even I'll do it next year. John and I worked together for about 1.5 years. We continuously talked, and mind you, this is not my business. This was a corporate wellness job that I had, which essentially there's not a lot of incentive for people to change their health, because I was basically handing out points for an insurance discount. So John didn't have a lot of incentive while working with me. He was there to get his points. We would often talk about things that he needed to do or that he should be doing, and he knew that. And if you're listening to this right now and you've got some challenges or some struggles, you know that you need to take care of it. You know you need to address it. Deep down inside, that feeling is there, and you might not be ready yet, and that's okay. But here's what I want to tell you what happened with John. He wanted to play the waiting game. He said, I'm in my mid-40s, got good genes, no big deal, nothing happens. I'll continue eating like crap, and I don't ever exercise. My exercise, I get it all at work. I work in a warehouse, which is nonsense, as most of you guys know. And I'll just keep putting it off. And he did. And he put it off for 1.5 years, and I stayed in contact with him. We touched base every 3 months. And then one day I called, and John didn't answer. And he didn't die. But he called me, rescheduled his appointment about a month later. And we touched base, and John had a massive heart attack. Ended up going into open heart surgery and having 3 vessels repaired. And we started talking again after this. And he had nothing but regret. He said, I should have listened to you earlier. And that's what I want to caution you guys against. I don't care how old you are. I worked in ICU for 6 whole years of my life when I started my nursing career way, way back in my early days. And I saw someone 38 years old have open heart surgery because they chose to eat like crap and smoke cigarettes every day of their life for 15, 20 years. The reality is this, guys. If you're listening to this right now and you're not currently taking action with your health, I highly encourage you to start taking some steps today. It doesn't have to be a massive overhaul, and I want you to know that it's never going to be perfect. Hell, my life is far from perfect. But I know that every day when I wake up and I have soaring energy and I'm ready to take on the day, I realize that by the time I go to bed, I'm going to be full of energy, and I know that when I'm going to bed, I'm going to crash and I'm going to wake up with that same amount of energy every single day because I do the things that I need to do to take care of myself to the best of my abilities. And what I want you to know is, if you have the egotistical look, the egotistical outlook, or that a little bit of arrogance when it comes to your health, thinking that you might be invincible, like we all did when we were 18 and 15, 18, 20 years old, we all thought that. If you didn't, then you probably weren't like most of the dudes that I hung out with. We all thought we were invincible, and I have quite the checkered past. I've been there and done that with substance abuse, alcoholism, and I've fought and battled a lot of that throughout my life, and I'm lucky to be alive today in a lot of the situations that I was in. Much like Ryan talks about, he him and I go way back, but I had my own line of troubles when I was younger, and so I had that invincible thought process. And I'm telling you that's a dangerous outlook, and it's literally playing Russian roulette with your health. You doing something for your health today, whether that making a few dietary changes, or maybe that's getting a little bit more active, or doing something to start the process, will make you will eliminate so many risk factors. I'm telling you right now, getting active in itself can significantly reduce your risks for a heart attack. And if you're someone who's not doing any activity right now, and if you're someone who tends to eat fast food 3 or 4 times a week thinking, oh, no big deal, my weight, I'm only 25 pounds overweight, or I'm only 15 pounds overweight, I'm telling you right now, that mentality of I'm only is going to come up, is going to catch you in the long run, and it's going to come back to bite you. And that's what I want you to avoid. I want to try to eliminate those pitfalls that a lot of Americans end up going through, and I don't want that to be you. I know there's a lot of amazing people in this group. I've connected with quite a few of the people in this group, and I've actually made some very solid friendships out of this group. So I know that there's great people in here, and if you're listening to this right now, or if you listen to this a little bit down the road, do not end up like John. Don't have that egotistical, invincible view, or maybe it's just, I'm not ready for change yet, so I'm going to put it off until tomorrow. I highly encourage you to take action now, man. Make 2019 the year that you finally got it together. Again, if you're already into fitness and nutrition, and you take care of yourself, and you've already leveled up with your health, and you're in great shape, then this video's not for you. I'm talking to the people that truly need the help. I want to help you, and if you just start implementing some of the things that I'm talking about, I do videos in here frequently, man, and all you have to do is take action. This is an extremely passionate topic for me. This is obviously what I do, and I would never pitch anything in this group, but I want you to know that there are answers. I want you to know that if you need help, you need to reach out to somebody. If you don't know where to get started, just ask. There are plenty of people, and I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I don't need to be everybody's cup of tea. I can be a very small group's shot of whiskey instead of being everyone's cup of tea, and that's A-okay with me. I just want to warn you now. I urge you to take action now. If you're only 10 or 15 pounds overweight, or if you're only 30 or 40 pounds overweight, and you feel like you can continue living life like that without some kind of catastrophic event happening to you, I want you to take action now. And if you're not ready, I understand that. But start at least going through the thought process now of what can I do to make this my year when it comes to my health. Don't end up like John. Don't end up like the guy that has a massive heart attack and has to go in for heart surgery in his early 40s because he chose to ignore his health for so long. You do not want to be like John. You do not want a huge scar down your chest line and have to go through 3 or 4 months of cardiac rehab and have significantly higher risks for future heart attacks because you chose not to take action now. Don't let the calendar flip again before you start taking action. I'm telling you guys, I've seen a lot of really, really, really devastating things in my life. If you've ever stepped foot into an ICU, it's not a fun place to be. I worked there for 6 years. I literally saw people die in front of my face almost on a daily basis. It's just not a very pleasant place to spend much time. If you're there visiting a family member, or if you've ever been there visiting a family member, and you hear all the bells and the alarms going off, and nurses running from room to room trying to code somebody because they're about to die again, you don't want that to be you. Trust me, if you value your life at all, take action now. Start taking actionable steps today to make your future self proud. Make 2019 the year that you finally decide to level up. You'll look back in 5 years, you'll be proud you did, and you'll have the exact same energy levels as me, soaring through the roof, being able to jump out of bed and take on your day with a vengeance every single day. If you're just now listening to this video, or you're just catching the tail end of it, I encourage you to go back and listen to the beginning if you even care about your health in the least. I'm telling you, I shared a story about a guy that I knew that I worked with for about 1.5 years at my wellness company, and he chose to ignore his health for a really long time, ended up having a heart attack in his early 40s. Don't let that be you, man. If you're a dad, If you're a parent and you're listening to this now, don't let another man walk your son or your daughter down the aisle or go to your son's college graduation because you chose to ignore your health. Don't let another man end up sleeping next to your wife in bed because you're 6 feet under because you chose to ignore your health. Don't let that be you, guys. Take action today.